All right, we should be good.
Hello, everybody. I want to tell you how much that we really miss you, and we missed you so much that we decided to do this little Books and Bites so you could see us.
So, if you're familiar with Books and Bites, you know that I usually have a great presentation behind me with lots of videos that may or may not work throughout the entire presentation. But since we're the video this time,
You're fine, Chett. Just keep talking.
since we're the video this time, I do not have that presentation. So the format's a little bit different. I'm gonna just talk briefly about Venice, about the history of Venice, and we are going to watch Donna cook. It's gonna be a little bit sped up. She's already done some prep. Do you want to very quickly say what's already done?
I have done so much. I've already chopped, minced the carrots, the celery. I couldn't find a shallot. The boy at the grocery store looked at me, oh, you want what? So I got green onions, which will work. We have to make concessions during these hard times. Then I have been cooking them. They're going to go with the fusilli macaroni. And then we also have delicious pears, which are simmering for us to put some yogurt on and have as dessert. Oh,
Boiling.
I'm boiling over.
Off screen, we're boiling the Fusilli noodles because we don't want to trip a breaker, because it has happened before. So they are boiling just off camera, so she will periodically walk away to fix her noodles. So, starting with Venice, and we chose Venice because our Venetian friends need some love right now. According to tradition, although we don't have any documented proof, Venice was founded in 1421. I remember that off the top of my head. It's
I
not totally
know.
right here.
So proud.
And it's a very unique city because they started with water and decided to put a city there.
Well, that's not true.
Well, they decided to move the city from the land into the water, which is basically the same thing.
The weight of the city pushed their land down.
No, there was no land. Okay, so don't mess with my narrative. All right, so they took alder trees, which are like a naturally water-resistant tree, and hewed all the branches off, and drove them into the ground, into the water, down until they hit clay, and then the trees petrified, and they put limestone on top of them, and then they had a base by which to build their city. In case you're curious, the reason the Venetians went about this process was because they were living on the land, constantly raided by Germanic tribes from the north or their fellow Italians from the west. So they decided to build their city on the ocean. In those times, a lot of cities would be built via with walls around them. They created what is often joked about as being one of the best moats ever made. Because if you just walk out into a lagoon and put a city there, you've got a heck of a moat. At first, Venice was just a city under the Byzantine Empire in the east, and kind of had some autonomy that varied throughout history until eventually Venetian independence, where when we think of Venice today, we think of the city of Venice, but Venice was actually like this thriving country. What's happening here? It all got really quiet.
I'm just waiting. Well, I'm waiting for this to start burbling so that the diced olives can go in. There's going to be some tossing going on very soon.
Okay. More reaction soon on the cooking front. So,
there it goes.
One of the great high points of Venice is that it is one of our historical democracies. Early on, led more autocratically by a doge who either went by my lord the doge or my most serene prince.
I like that one.
You
will be my most serene prince from now on.
Well, that's taken from the name, the Most Serene Republic of Venice. They had a very unique system in how they elected their doge or their duke. We might compare them to a duke, but a lot of people get very offended if you say that a doge is a duke because they're different. Because a duke is nobility and a doge is not nobility.
Can you become a doge?
Yes.
How?
The trick is to be very wealthy. Step one, be very wealthy, but
so the merchant class
the
can be a
merchant
doge.
class was largely the ruling class in Venice.
I like this.
They had a sort of almost like lottery system to try to take some of the influence out. So you would have like a group of 40-ish men, because they're all men. It's patriarchal
because that's the way they like it.
Venice is progressive for its time, but it was still patriarchal as most societies were. So 40 guys would choose, I'm going to make the numbers up because I can't remember the lottery numbers, but 40 guys would choose 12 guys, those 12 guys would choose 40 guys, those 40 guys would choose 17 guys, those 17 guys would choose 8 guys, and it was all to try to take what family you're from out of it. So they would pick their people who are then going to pick their people who are then going to pick their people. And John might be chosen 6 times before they finally get to the group of, say, 12, or at various times 41, or at various times 2,000 people who then are going to pick your doge. Over time, your doge became less powerful. They would institute like a council here, a council there, a group who does this, until you ended up with a more democratic society, largely ruled by just over 2,000 or as many as 2,700 ruling patriarchs.
Very cool.
Very cool. And they did have a senate. They did use the term senate like we do. So there you go. It was 120 senators, not 100 and...
How much did a senator make a year? Were they paid?
I actually don't know the answer to
Oh,
that.
that'll be fun. You guys can Google
that. Were
That
senators
will be
paid a
fun.
salary in Venice?
Well, not just in Venice, but way back in Venice in what?
1200
1200 AD. That is a great question.
You asked me a question I didn't know the answer to.
That's
You told me you were going to do
fun.
that, though.
It's so fun.
So, Venice gained its independence, according to tradition, in 697 AD. There's a lot of historical discrepancy there. Some treaties say no, Venice was still under Byzantium, and some say they were independent, and some say, And so Venice would gradually rise in power as a merchant republic. Not unique, because there were actually several in Italy. It was a unique sort of thing in Italy where most of the world is ruled by some sort of king or monarch. And Italy had these elected leaders who they're elected and then they rule for life once they're elected. The two that a lot of people know are Venice and their rival in the west, Genoa. But there are some smaller, less influential ones that sprung up here and there. Venice actually had an empire. We wouldn't think of it as an empire in modern day, because when we think empire, we think the Roman Empire or, the Persian
Empires were
Empire.
smaller back then.
Not all of them, some were huge, but Venice had holdings.
Venetian empires were smaller.
Well, the Venetian Empire was incredibly wealthy. So they were small because they mostly focused on naval holdings, so to secure their trade routes and get rid of all the pirates, because
This was kind of the Palm Beach of empires.
So they had holdings all throughout the Adriatic, and some holdings in very near Turkey. I'm not forgetting, like Moria. I love Moria.
Okay.
Reminds me of Lord of the Rings.
Yes, it does.
I'm just saying, that's why the name comes to mind pretty easily.
I plan to read The Lord of the Rings real soon again.
And so Venice was the most serene republic because of that. Oh, noodles
Yay.
are allegedly ready.
Noodles are
So,
done.
most serene republic because they provided a level of welfare to their citizens unique to Venice.
Oh.
It was good to be even a peasant in Venice in those days, which can't say in most of the world in, the Middle Ages. Middle Ages are a pretty dark time in most places, but not in Venice. Venice was a good place to be.
Let me promise you, this is not my normal way of dealing with noodles. But since we're doing this remotely on the fly, we just have to kind of do the best we can. These Fusilli noodles are so cute.
And if you can't find Fusilli noodles, because we almost couldn't find Fusilli noodles, just use whatever noodles you got. It'll be okay.
The flavor will be there.
Venice at the height of their power, just because people like statistics and numbers, had a navy of 36,000 sailors, which was huge for that time. And it is huge. And 3,300 ships. Where am I now? Do I have any other great facts? Oh,
Yeah.
so, Donna,
Sir?
very famous French emperor, dissolved the empire, or the Republic of Venice.
What year?
If I tell you the year, you'll be able to guess.
Oh no, it was Napoleon?
Okay, yes. So, Napoleon in the 1800s annexed a lot of Italy into France for a period of time until the Italian revolts in the French Italy, would that be the correct way to say it? Reverted the land to control of local Italians, who then would eventually all become part of the Kingdom of Italy and then the modern Republic of Italy. But Venice, as a nation, existed from 697 AD, if we're going to use the Venetian date, all the way to 1805 AD. So a very long-term country, and actually existed for 2 years in the interim, just not continuously, from I believe it's 1848 to 1849, following the revolts. And what are my other? You had a whole bunch of questions.
I do, and this is my favorite question. I don't know if there are any children watching this, but I'm a child. And my question was, are there sharks in the canals of Venice?
And my answer, I thought, because the water's so murky and,
Dirty.
It's not really dirty because it's silt. It's silt. It's natural. It's like a river runoff. Was that there wouldn't be sharks in the canals of Venice, but we'll inform you there are in fact sharks in the canals of Venice. Actually, super cool.
I'm so
Several
excited.
species of shark.
Hammerhead sharks. Hammerhead sharks in the canals of Venice.
And her other question she asked me was, Donna, can you swim just through the canals in Venice?
If I am in a James Bond movie, yes, I can. But other than that, the answer is no.
My other thing that I will tell you is, I can't show it to you because I'm not allowed, but you should totally look up the history of gondolas in TED Talks on YouTube. It's wonderful. You'll very quickly learn that gondolas are a very special kind of boat unique to Venice. Their traditions are passed down from family to family over hundreds of years. Only certain families even have licenses to make gondolas. You'll learn that gondolas are very uniquely shaped. They're not symmetrical boats because you only have one person steering your boat, and to have one person steering and propelling your boat.
And hopefully singing.
And hopefully singing. They're very specially shaped. So, how close? You look like you're ready to serve food.
I'm getting ready, Chet, to give you something delicious. And what are you going to do?
I'm going to eat it.
You're going to say thank you.
Are you going to tell us what you made? Are you going to explain everything? Because this
I
smells
am.
good, but they can't smell it. So you're going to have to
guys,
show them and tell them.
I feel so bad. So this is supposed to be a Kaiser pear. But again, in making the concessions that I had to make today, I had to buy Bartlett pears, and I won't tell you the face that the guy at the grocery store made at me when I said, "Do you have any Kaiser pears?" But it was nicer than the face that the guy made when I asked for the Fusilli.
What's a Kaiser pear?
Noodles. It's just a different type of pear. These are delicious. They tell you to plate them. Oh, I need a.
Did you forget a thing?
And serve them just warm, probably not quite as hot as these are.
There's no super thick red sauce on my pasta.
No, sir, there's not, because you don't always need a marinara sauce. And this pasta, this is just it's called I think an olive sauce. This is fusilli with green olives, which is fusilli olive verde. And
I don't know how I'm supposed to eat the pear.
you're gonna cut
It's gonna
it
get
here.
really messy.
Here, use this, because they didn't cook as soft as I thought they might. Some of them are very soft.
Are just don't want to spill it all over myself. That would be funny though. That I bet the kids would love to just
We
but,
not on the new carpet.
oh yeah, the carpet's
We
new.
just got new carpet, so we are not allowed to spill anything anywhere.
Alright.
You can also use vanilla ice cream if you don't want to use Greek yogurt, but
Oh,
the
that's
recipe
delicious.
called for Greek yogurt. The pears
It's a bit
just,
lighter than American food.
this is, well, yes, it's quite delicious.
It's delicious though. So let's see, this is carrots, olives.
Carrots, olives, I told you, green onions that are pretending to be shallots.
I can't even see them.
Well, they're in there.
Onions, little hidden onions.
And some dried chili flakes, which I really couldn't find chili flakes, so I used red pepper. It worked. And whenever I do a recipe, this is a 5-ounce container of Parmesan, and it asks for a half a cup, which is 4 ounces.
That's close.
But I just put the whole 5 ounces in because,
Lots more
hey,
cheese.
more cheese is better, right?
So we've got our pears with that. Pears with.
Pears
Greek
with
yogurt.
Greek yogurt,
And they're seasoned in what?
fortified white wine,
Oh.
which is this right here,
Yes.
Holland House white cooking wine, with a little cinnamon. And one of my little tricks is I used 3 packages of sugar from a restaurant because it just wanted 3 teaspoons of sugar, and that measured out, and I had it. And sometimes when you're on quarantine or isolation or whatever it is we're doing, you just have to go with what you got.
Alright, so yes, I don't even know how long.
I think we've done well.
Okay.
I don't know how long we want to go. Guys, I miss you. I don't know about him, but I miss you a lot.
more.
I want our crafts back. I want our book clubs back. See ya soon.
See if my